He's all the way awkward and uncomfy in any way. Alexey. AZ. We call AZ DB. We got DB and AZ in here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were wondering who is responsible for this unique and uncommon commentary that you're getting on Fight Time, oh, no, no, no. This is not what you've seen in the past, that or heard for sure. Oh, no, no, no. My name is Savvy Sinclair. Alongside me, as always, is none other than Steve T, but you call him Steve Taylor. And if you're ever in Toledo, catch him on the weekends on the keyboard, lead singer. And I'm just going to leave that there. But the band is named In Touch, so find out where they'll be appearing next. Typically, it's Club Soda.
Had a
Glass
chance,
City, USA.
I had a chance to hang out with that Bob Marley guy you was talking about.
Right.
Well, the band
Legendary.
that he made, the Wailers.
Uh-huh.
I was with them on Wednesday night.
Okay. So you love that, for sure.
Love the reggae
You
thing.
blacked out. I know you did.
Love the reggae thing.
Oh, look, as we get Clarissa Shields. Where's our guy?
Well,
Clarissa Shields is on it. You
we're
see the
getting an
Detroit.
entrance. We're
Okay.
getting an entrance.
Oh, what is it? What we doing here? What we got going? Oh, I know my guys. Where my people at in the truck? Where we at? Because we got to see what's happening here. What we got going here? D Banks. 313, another home presentation, ladies and gentlemen, for your athletic pleasure. As here we go, finally got eyes on the situation. So it's our co-main event.
Everyone waiting for the entrance of Demetrius Banks.
D Banks already gave us the lyrics before he said, I'm coming down.
No, he gave us the whole set.
Yeah, I would categorize it as more of a soliloquy or something like that.
Hey, back in our time, we would call that the album version.
The 12-inch, that wasn't a 12-inch, Steve. He says the album. That wasn't a 12-inch. Young people Google 12-inch vinyl because we know that's a struggle. We know it's serious. We'd like to thank everybody, though, who helps us make this happen. All of our fine and established, talented professionals working in the truck, all of those guys and gals out there working hard to bring you a fine product here in conjunction in association with Fight Time. We thank you so much.
We're going to bring them out one time. Everybody be quiet.
Oh, okay. Pete Trevino said we're going to do it again. We're doing it again, ladies and gentlemen.
Please welcome to the ring, fighting out of the blue corner.
This time minus the lyrics.
Demetrius Banks.
Here he is, DB. Here we go.
Music.
Oh, now we don't have the music cue now?
Well, you know, he's got it's gonna be the remix now.
Okay.
The remix of the album version.
While he was making the 12-inch. I got you.
Now here we go. We have an entrance of dramatic proportions.
Uh-oh, here we go. Now you get a look at it. Paper Stream on the ring walk. Big Sean. Here we go. 313, DB. On the spot, L-I-V-E. Yes, Steve and me. Okay, I'll take microphone. Do my spot. Okay, you know we coming through. Yes means we can't be stopped. Ha. Fight Time. Where they do it at? Mike, man? Huh? Your announcers, commentators, yeah. What's the plan? Whoa. Who do that? It's not that Berman thing. Cold sell. Oh, no. This is the brand new Man the King. Ha. 419-313. What it do? That's right. Hey, hello, me to you, live. Paper Stream. Demetrius Banks, he is on the scene.
As he makes his appearance.
And that's his man, Wade. Look at Wade in there with the green cap. Look at Wade. That boy is a bad boy right there in that green cap coming through. D
Antonio
Banks, we
Wade.
see you. Okay. We see it, Wade. We see it. Come through. What up, though? Yeah. Yeah, that's fight time. You don't know how we'll do it. We will go corporate, though. We will switch back to conference room in a flash. Don't get that misunderstood. There he is, though. Undefeated record in here right now. 14-1, though. Facing 14-1. When Zubov shows up.
And his opponent.
USSR. What?
Making his way out to the red corner. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Alexey Zubov.
And there you have that, 14-1, about to walk down on you. Look at it real quick. He didn't waste time. I don't have to do all the delay.
Well, he's been ready.
Look at it, Ivan Drago-like. Look at the Ivan Drago energy on it. Kronk Detroit, I told you that. I told you that, folks. I told you that Alexey is no stranger to the gravel nature of things. Call that the street, pavement style. He's a big boy. Cruiserweights is what we're about to do, ladies and gentlemen. This one will be 10, though. They want to put some cushion in between things before Clarissa shows up. Because I hear Clarissa's coming, though. Somebody told me that she was going to show up tonight.
Oh, she's made an appearance already.
And Cindy LeBlanc, she was here, too. So,
well, Cindy LeBlanc, we'll talk more about that.
We'll
as the
get
fight
to that
approaches.
in a moment. Right now, the cruiserweights.
And what I'm seeing out of Alexey Zubov, a lot of lower body strength. If you look at the legs on his guy, they're like tree trunks.
It's your co-main event, introducing your fighters.
Co-main event, here we go.
Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks trimmed in gold. Standing 6 feet tall, he weighed in at 195.4 pounds. He comes to the ring representing the world's best boxing gym and relentless determination with the fighting style of water like Bruce Lee. He comes to the ring undefeated with a record of 9 wins and no losses, with 4 of those big wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Messenger, Demetrius Banks. His opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the traditional Kronk gold trunks, standing 6 feet 1 inch tall. He weighed in at 197.4 pounds. He comes to the ring representing Detroit's legendary Kronk boxing team with a record of 14 wins and only 1 loss, with 9 of those big wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Detroit, Michigan, by way of Magnitogorsk, Russia, ladies and gentlemen, here is Alexey Zubov. Referee Ron Cunningham with fight instructions.
Listen to my commands, obey my commands. That line here is good. I'm going to give you the top of the trunks there, okay? Touch them up. Good luck to both of you.
Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, this cruiserweight matchup will be decided in 10 rounds or less.
And there you have it. You heard Pete Trevino once again, ladies and gentlemen. 10 rounds this time or less. Fight Time Live, Detroit Brawl. Thank you, Savvy Sinclair, Steve Taylor, Demetrius Banks in the white, Alexey Zubov in the Kronk gold. Time for business, big boys. Somebody typically gets laid down in these situations.
This is going to be interesting. The look, I can't quite determine the look that Zubov has. That's either not good or not good. And I mean that for either guy.
Certainly clear early on that there will be some thunder levied here. And as I said, the possibility of significant injury to someone's dome, meaning their cranium, is highly probable. Left jab there from Banks. 1-2 from Alexey.
Banks not exuding a lot of energy right now. Just measuring his opponent.
No, don't reach for it. Don't reach for it.
Banks reaches out with a lazy jab and catches one back for his troubles.
Walk right into it. Let him walk into it. You reach it. Let him walk into it.
Banks content to remain the retaliation man.
Let him walk into it.
Showing you some patience here, though.
Reaching again.
Zubov seemed very intent,
Look
though,
off, baby.
to try to establish himself early. You like the work there. Nice combination. And there's Banks. There's Banks again. Still with the jab.
It's easy
Jab
work, baby.
downstairs.
It's easy work.
Couple of straight rights from Zubov. Now he'll fire again.
It's easy work.
Double, triple game off the jab, followed by the right hand. Banks still surveying. Will fire, though.
Reaching again. You ain't got to reach.
Body shot scored by Zubov. Banks just kind of laying out that lazy left hand. He's got to be careful. He'll catch a right hand over the top of that.
Zubov and the punching power fairly evident, though, here at ringside. You can almost feel that, but Banks looks like he's going to be in a world of trouble if he allows this sort of assault to continue, though. Oh, straight over the top, though. That right hand was crisp and clean from Zubov.
But Zubov has been the aggressor thus far.
Banks certainly not going to be in a situation where he can afford to wait for whatever mistake maybe he's looking for from Zubov, because Zubov is going to continue to bring that work, and that is very evident here in round number 1. And there's the first one in the book. Steve Taylor, what do you say? I mean,
Well, due to the lack of action from Banks, you got to give it to Zubov.
So that's clear. That's the obvious outcome or conclusion that you would expect from Steve Taylor. As we get set for round 2 here. Thank you to all of the fine and talented individuals working tonight to put this card together. Live inside the Masonic, as well as those joining us here on Fight Time. All of our, again, hard-working men and women in the truck, bringing you the sights and sounds here. Steve Taylor and myself, Savvy Sinclair, just along for the ride, ladies and gentlemen, hoping that we can give you an accurate description and one that you enjoy. Round number 2.
But I expect Banks to be more aggressive this round, be more busy.
You can certainly say that again, Steve Taylor, because Zubov, as we mentioned, first round, bringing the fight. You like that 1-2 right there upstairs from Zubov.
And both of them scored.
Very precise, too. Very athletic. Zubov a little more athletic than you might expect if you watch him walk in and things like that, and maybe if you make your judgments that way. But this man has got some spring, and he's got some pop, too. Certainly the power, but you'd expect that. Again, these are cruiserweights. That's no surprise.
I'm tell you, Sav, if Banks continues to reach lazily with that left hand, he's going to catch something. His corner continues to warn him about that.
And I'm surprised about that, Steve. When you talk about a man who's in here, again, 9-0, 4 KOs himself, so almost at a 50% clip, you know, it's a little, like I said, surprising that he's not mounting more of a surge in the face of, again, what is a very obvious, straightforward attack from Zubov. And Zubov there again, 1-2, and lands again with the short right, and now there's the left hand.
With Zubov very, very aggressive, being in and out. A lot of movement by Zubov. He's establishing his jab, and what he's doing is putting all his work in off of that jab. And he's really keeping Banks off balance.
Extremely efficient, too. You could say Zubov not wasting punches. Everything he's throwing, though, calculated. That's clear. Look at this. Banks still appears to be hesitant overall. And you know, this is very strange, Steve. I hate to make this reference, but it just dawned on me. I can't believe I didn't catch it, especially the way that Banks is fighting right now. The white gloves, the Russian opponent.
Dare I say, Apollo Creed.
I never liked the white gloves, as you know, Steve. I always hate to see those come out. And Banks in front of the home crowd right now, not to the liking of the capacity crowd.
And what you're starting to see is Zubov starting to settle down.
Right.
I mean, he's very comfortable in there.
Absolutely. Look at this, though. Look at that downstairs chopping going on. Then look at him come up top with the hook. Then right there, straight right. Left jab again. Look at him hook downstairs. And that up, I see him setting the uppercut. I would hate to see one of the uppercuts that he seems to be plotting. 1-2. Right followed by the left. Zubov hooking with the left now. Banks just trying to cover. Nothing serious going on his way. And now you look at this. Hands starting to be let go. That's the end of round 2. Alexey Zubov will give you his second round. Why do I need to ask Steve that? Redundant questions are ridiculous on the air.
Well, I tell you, Zubov, the aggressive fighter, doing a good job at really keeping the pressure on. Got it 10-9 Zubov, 20-18 thus far for Alexey Zubov. Alexey Zubov coming in 14-1, 9 knockouts. So he's more of a knockout puncher. Banks undefeated, but only 4 knockouts for him. So that tells me he's not a big puncher.
Well, right now, it's as though he's not a puncher at this point.
But he's going to have to get busy. You really don't want to spot Alexey Zubov too many rounds if you're going to depend on going to the scorecards.
Not to mention, if this keeps up, we certainly won't see 10 rounds. If something doesn't change, and I do mean in a hurry for Brother Banks here, 3-1-3 in front of his hometown crowd, but at the same time, Brother Zubov is at home as well. As you see, he is a Kronk man. Uh-oh, there's the right there. Okay, but no, retaliation from Zubov. Right hand, Zubov, right to the mouth. Left hand to the mouth.
But again, Zubov, again, in and out, really dictating the pace of the fight.
And clearly a man of his size with a significant reach and really putting that on display as well. As you see the precision, he's been efficient, he's been calculated, and he's certainly been, you know, more than deliberate on everything he's wanted to put together. And I'm talking and speaking clearly about Mr. Zubov.
Right hand over the top. After a scoring left jab.
Zubov been able to control range, everything. As he finally catches a shot there from Banks.
Banks doing a better job at snapping that jab out there. But what he's doing is he's become a one-handed fighter.
You want to believe that Banks has some sort of strategy in mind and trying to preserve himself, showing you patience, but that certainly won't hold up because the offensive arsenal of Zubov is more than apparent here.
Believe me, baby, you'll get it. You'll get it. Keep working at it. You'll get it. Keep working at it. Keep working at it. You're going to get it. Yup. Yup. There you go. Work at it. You're going to get it. Catch it on that counter.
The Banks corner.
Look at this straight rights, 2 of them, 3 of them in a row, Steve, right hands, Zubov.
Banks counter looking for counter punches, but Zubov having none of it.
Doubled up on the jab just a second ago, will fire the straight right again. Banks responds, his jab firing, not necessarily contacting though. He'll touch something there. There's another hook though from Zubov. Jab, right hand.
There's a
1-2
big
there.
right
There's
hand.
Banks now. He'll go low a little bit, though. Left
Referee-
jab official will step in on that.
Referee Ron Cunningham steps in and warns Banks. Pick him up.
And so the pace is picked up again by Zubov out of that, and an exchange to the forehead right there. Left jab, I would say. Left hook. Again. Now we exchange. Okay.
Banks trying to turn it into a street fight. I don't know if that'll be a good idea.
And there's the conclusion. Round 3.
Too little, too late in that round for Banks.
Like you said, at this point, Steve, not that Banks is in any significant trouble. However, he just has not mounted any semblance of an attack. And he's had to, again, absorb what I would categorize as significant punishment when you start to consider the fact that these are cruiserweights.
Yeah,
Big boys, as we mentioned, we've been looking at the smaller faction up to this point here at the Detroit Brawl. Shout out Salida Promotions.
Seconds out.
Fine job.
Make some noise,
Thank you, everyone at
Detroit.
Fight Time.
Round number 4 of 10.
Round 4. Back to work. Alexey Zubov. Demetrius Banks. Detroit's own. 4th round. We haven't heard much from Banks. It's been a dominant performance from Zubov.
reaching
Banks
again.
lunging. Certainly, Steve, he doesn't want to start to tinker with situations that create imbalance, as we've seen how costly that can be prior to this fight tonight. If you're Banks, you certainly don't want to get into this looping, lunging things as he right there gets into an exchange, fires off the jab, looks nice right now.
No, not at all, because, you know, Zubov has the arm reach over him. So what Banks is going to have to do, he's going to have to find a way to get inside.
Easier said than done with the much taller man. But there,
But being
Zubov walks into the left jab.
But being on the outside of Zubov's punches, it's not going to bowl well for him. There's a big right hand over the top for Banks.
But it just seems like his situation is one of a random nature, Steve. It's not like it's complete confidence when he does load up and fire something significant. It's almost as though he's not sure about it. Speaking of Banks here, as Zubov starts to stalk his man again. Left jab, followed by the right, followed by another left jab to the throat. Left jab. Alexey Zubov looking textbook right now. Oh my goodness,
big
with that
left
left hook,
hand.
that'll send you over into the row closest to the ropes.
Zubov continued to pressure his opponent, smothering Banks. Takes a jab for that. Every time Banks goes straight back, Zubov makes him pay.
Certainly correct. That time, though, Zubov pays the price for getting a little bit too close. Hear the cries from Banks' corner. They need him to be busier. They want him to be busier.
Exactly. Zubov lands the left. Leads with that left and scores.
Banks trying to load up, but again, very random, Steve, with that approach. Not sure how far you can get. Can't really put anything together because, again, the pressure.
Yeah,
constant.
Zubov is a seasoned fighter, and he's going to continue to put the pressure on. Kind of reminds you of Rob Gronkowski.
True indeed.
He's got
Yes,
some Gronk in
if
him.
Gronk was boxing, ladies and gentlemen, you could be getting a glimpse right now in one Alexey Zubov, hailing from Magnagorsk, Russia, Steve. I wanted to take a shot at that.
Okay, Russia. That's good enough for me.
Downtown playground.
And Gronk
But
from the
dwelling
Gronk.
amongst us here in the 3-1-3. Demetrius Banks having a tough time, though, with Zubov tonight.
Well, what you're starting to see in the Zubov corner is they're starting to egg their fighter to throw punches and bunches. So let's look for that here in this 5th round. If Zubov listens to his corner and starts to punch in bunches.
Round 5 now, halfway point of this contest. It's 10 rounds in the cruiserweight division. You've got Alexey Zubov dominant thus far over the hometown man, Demetrius Banks. But I will say both men sort of at home. Brother Zubov just hails from Russia. A nice shot, right hand, and now Banks are getting here in exchange. Hands flying.
Banks is he's starting to throw more punches. And when Zubov gets hit, he gets hit when he only throws one punch. That's what his corner was talking about in between rounds, to throw combinations, and now you're starting to see him.
Stick something out there. Put something in his face.
Alexey Zubov
Put something in his face.
showing you a very charismatic approach. Confident.
Do it again.
Banks still needs to mount something, though, and forge retaliation that's to be respected. Thus far, hadn't really done that. Now we'll tie up. Official will say enough with the nonsense. Let's fight, please. This is on fight time. We don't do that here.
This your city. It's your
So
city,
if
baby.
you Zubov, Steve, do you want to keep this fight, though, in the middle of the ring? As we have seen a good portion of this tonight, though, do you want to keep that there to just set your man up? Because Banks doesn't give you any reason not to continue with your intent.
If I'm Zubov, I'm continuing to do exactly what I'm doing. But if I'm Zubov, I'm going to throw punches and combinations more, because you're able to dictate the pace of the fight. You back up Banks. When you quit punching, it's when Banks start to throw those one shot.
And there's another one, as you say that, Steve,
I like that. Do it again.
as his corner requests a repeat. Zubov, there it is again. That left hook has been a problem. Every time he's landed that tonight, it is pedaled.
Big right
Banks
hand.
back. Another big right hand, as you mentioned, Steve.
Catch a hard one. Catch a hard one.
Banks looks like he's starting to get tired.
A hard one.
Banks wants to box. But you
Now
can't.
Banks wants to break. is what I'm seeing at this point. Zubov starting to zero in. Look at him.
Come on, Banks. He turned to the corner slow and slow.
I get the sense that Zubov is certainly confident he can finish his man though. I sense he looks like he wants a stoppage here, and Banks has got to retaliate in a way that suggests that would not be happening here. But right now we haven't seen much.
Contrary to what the Banks corner thinks, I don't think Zubov really is affected by the punching power of Banks, because he's kind of done what he wanted to do. This round, he started to punch more in combinations. In my opinion, he's pitching a shutout.
Halfway point is where we are now. That was 5 rounds in the books. A shutout thus far for Alexey Zubov, the man out of the Crunk gym, putting it on display. But you'd expect that. The fighters from Crunk, you know what that is. Detroit, thank you very much again having us here tonight. Masonic Temple is the location. Savvy Sinclair, Steve Taylor, Paper Stream, 188 countries, Roku, Hulu, Apple TV, all of it. Oh yes, please believe it. So Steve, now I'm not sure what you can say that you haven't said already, but I mean, if you're Banks right now at the halfway point, and see when you walk out without the mouthpiece, and there's an indicator,
Yeah, that
and
you're
I'm
tired.
concerned now.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
that you're
concerned.
tired.
I'm very concerned now. As we move into round 6, Demetrius Banks enters it without the mouthpiece, has to return to acquire it. And if he's not careful, we'll have it knocked out soon by Zubov. Look at him right there. Time that up. got in there, nice little hook, short range.
He's going to have to let his hands go. If you're Banks, you've got to let your hands go. I mean, he's content with keeping that one hand low. He's got his left hand low, and he's trying to shoot that jab. But you're throwing one punch at a time.
Oh, and there's a right hand, very solid as he walks into that from Zubov.
And now the jab of Alexey Zubov starting to take its toll.
Left hook, straight right. 1-2 from Banks, but to no avail. Another 1-2 from Zubov. There's a 1-2 from Banks, though. Step back. And Zubov still walking ahead.
Yeah, you know, again, they're fighting at Zubov's distance. Banks has to close that distance.
Combinations flowing right now. Left hook, oh my. And that has been there all night, Steve.
And that one got his attention.
It certainly did. He is feeling that one. Reluctant to say that Banks is hurt, but Banks is certainly not quite like he was when the fight started.
Absolutely. But when you
Look at this, oh my. Look at this double up with the jab over the top with the right, and Zubov has this man in prime position right now, and Banks has got to be, at minimum, slightly dizzy.
Well, you see him tired now. Now you see him starting to breathe with his mouth open.
A straight right could be a serious complication for Banks at this moment.
Here is where the inexperience comes in. Because see, a seasoned fighter, man, will go to the ropes. You remember the James Toney fight? Toney, man, just sat back on the ropes and let his opponent to come to him, and he picked his shots.
Right.
And he pot shot it, and he rested at the time. These are the type of things that savvy, pardon the pun, fighters do.
No problem, I accept. But here's this, you like this? Look at this from Banks. A few signs of life, but Zubov would say, oh, no, no, no. Oh, and there's another mouthpiece on the ground.
Well, it was Zubov's mouthpiece that came out in that last exchange.
So you like that energy from Banks right there.
Excuse me,
showing you some life. Banks said it's okay. He's still here, letting us know here at ringside. He's still here. Oh.
Yeah, this is all.
We almost had it.
We're talking about a spent fighter right now.
Certainly, perhaps a nice tactical maneuver, and there he is. Left, right out of the mouthpiece application, but there's Zubov. Shorten the distance, bell rings. That's the end of 6. And this has not been a contest thus far, Steve.
It's been a one-man show right now, and Alexey Zubov well on his way to going 15-0.
Or 15-1, rather.
15-1, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate your time, Planet Earth, being with us for another Fight Time Live voyage. Certainly honored and privileged to bring it to you, as always, what we call the paper stream. Get used to that, ladies and gentlemen. It's a new day in terms of cyber. And we do this all the time. Oh, yes, it extends to concerts and such, but right now, pugilism is the focus. As always, at Fight Time, boxing is what we're doing tonight. Round 7 underway. Alexey Zubov been in command.
60-54 is what we got it scored, if you're keeping track with us at home.
Steve Taylor's been pretty accurate all night, ladies and gentlemen. There's a 1-2 from Zubov. We see if Steve can keep the streak going. Banks is not really making it that much of a trivia situation, that's for sure. As he takes a shot again with that left jab. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, he's starting to cover up.
Nice uppercut.
They tried to sucker him into that uppercut. He's going to get warned for that low blow. But Zubov picks right back up where he left off.
Right there, you should have went to work.
Goes low, does Banks, and still continue to pump the jab now. Zubov over the top with his right. Right hand from Banks. Hook from Banks.
Bring that right over top.
The jab firing, Zubov. Banks on the run.
Do it again.
Managed to slip.
Give him that stick finish, baby. Do it again. Bring the hook behind the next one. It's working. It's working. Come on, it's working.
Left jab again.
It's working.
Zubov still consistent. Jab at close range. Banks is certainly in too close a range, but you have that reach from the taller man.
Yeah. He's trying to pot shot and hoping that his opponent walks into something. But Zubov doing a good job and just continue to pressure the attack.
Showing you the patience. Alexey Zubov giving you the seasoned fighter right here, ladies and gentlemen. That 1-2 was serious. That right shot to the ribs was certainly one of zap. Look at that 1-2 there. And we felt the sweat here. Oh, another jab.
Follows up with the left jab.
Zubov has Banks in what we like to call issue territory. This is certainly a territory of issues. Banks will try to put some hop in his step. But Zubov unconcerned. Look at this work here. Off the interior. Double hook game. Go low with it. Comes back upstairs. Now the jab situation. Oh, my goodness. The uppercut followed by the combination game. And Zubov is busy, and there goes your round. That's 7 of them, ladies and gentlemen. And things have not changed. 10 points keep going to the man with the gold trumps.
Yeah, exactly. My sentiments exactly.
Oh.
70-64. It's been all Alexey Zubov.
Fine programming here tonight from the Masonic Temple, ladies and gentlemen. Fight Time Live. This is what we do. Make sure you download the app in case you came in through the website, www.GameSavvy. Whoa, it's that serious, Steve.
It's that serious.
I'm sorry, but you can look up GameSavvy too, .tv.
Fight Time.
Fight Time, thank you. My apologies. My brother Khalif Shears. Appreciate you.
It's all good.
All good. It's all good, isn't it, Steve? Corporations, entrepreneurship, we stress that around here. Here we are, round 8, ladies and gentlemen. Back to business. Alexey Zubov, Demetrius Banks. Left jab still pumping right now for Zubov.
Ain't no do-overs, baby. We got to get it done now.
Combination work from Zubov. You've seen it all night. There it is again. Strong right hands there on the ropes. Banks will move off him. Back to the center of the ring.
You know, these are one of those performances that when you talk to Banks after the fight, he'll tell you that I just couldn't get off first. You know?
Right. Clearly the case.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with Alexey Zubov.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of this work that he's giving you now. Oh my, that straight right hand was straight down the pike, Steve. And Banks in some trouble now. Banks in some trouble. Another left hook.
Bring it over top and bring it hard.
The young man does have a chin, though. Oh, look at that. Oh my, there's Zubov letting him go.
He's starting to unload. There's a nice answer there by Banks.
And that's the heart there.
Do it again.
I'm at home in front of my people. You like this. Show some life, Banks.
Well, you know, when you bring that many people to ringside, you better bring a fight.
Make them feel it.
Not to mention, we did have the lyrics. There's a right hand, walks into that. That certainly made his oral cavity and discomfort.
Oh, Zubov, all business.
All business, like you said, Steve. Completely unfazed by any shot he may get in retaliation is Zubov. They'll get a warning about the headbutt. Nice left hook there over the top right.
Referee Ron Cunningham gave him a warning, but I tell you, it wasn't a head. It was that right hand that did it.
Fight him, Banks. Fight him, Banks. Fight him.
Left. Left. There's the right. Zubov showing you the patience. Be careful, though. Banks,
There's a nice.
Banks possesses power, though.
Sharp right hand.
He's trying to take away your
Banks, both hands dangerously low, and it's really hard to generate any kind of power when your hands are that low because you got to bring them up and through the range.
Keep on the ropes.
Nice exchange there. As Zubov worked off, brings his man back to the center of the ring. Banks still trying to load up and find his shot. There's the end of round 8. Clearly another situation. You saw a few more signs of life out of Banks. We'll give him credit there. So still here in the fight, but certainly at this point, it must realize what is necessary here to have an opportunity to be victorious at this juncture.
Yeah, it's a tough road ahead for him. I mean, right now, he's lost every round. I mean, he has to win by knockout. I have it 80-72 right now.
Certainly not the position you want to be in. If you're Demetrius Banks with his 9-0 record right now on the line versus Alexey Zubov with 1 blemish on his rack at 14-1. But he certainly has looked like the more impressive fighter tonight. And we're looking for some sort of response here from Brother Banks. Time is of the essence as we move into round 9. Jabs, both men.
His ring approach, I'm talking about Banks, eerily reminded me of, you remember Purgatory? We did Purgatory.
Right.
There was a young kid from Toledo, Adrian Wilson.
Yes.
Who brought
no Adrian Will.
17, 18 people down the ringside with him and just never measured up. And after talking to him afterwards, I personally advised him to leave like 15 of them behind. His next fight he did that he hasn't lost since.
How about that? Well said, Steve Taylor, and certainly the proper advisement, I would say. And there's Zubov continuing to mount a vicious arsenal here versus Demetrius Banks, who still showing you he's game.
Searching for answers. Searching for answers.
Searching for answers. Game fighter in front of his home crowd. Friends and family out here tonight. Catches a serious left hook there on his backup.
Pick him up.
Another warning for the low gloves. Zubov.
There's a clash of heads. It's an accidental headbutt.
And there's Zubov again, still hooking Banks over the top. Jab again, Zubov. Followed by a right. He'll follow that with another left. Still leaning on his opponent here, Banks.
Both fighters starting to slow down somewhat.
Visibly fatigued is Banks. Zubov certainly has his concerns in the stamina area, but you just can't tell it right now. Left again, followed by the right. Both landed.
Put something in his face. Stop covering up. Put something in his face. Put something in his face, you ain't got
There it is, a nice right there
Yeah.
from Zubov.
And we get a nice
And there's
sweat
Zubov.
shower there.
Going back again, going downstairs.
Come on, Banks. Come on, Banks.
10
He's on the
seconds.
shot. Do it again.
Nice
Go
work
at him.
here.
Go at him.
Zubov appears to be fine with letting the hands go, and why not at this point?
You know,
Well,
you almost
9 in the books, 1 to go.
9 of them in the books. I mean, just for whatever reason, let's just give him that round. We'll call it 8 rounds to 1.
And that, a fine diplomat is Steve Taylor, ladies and gentlemen. Please know this. Fight Time Live, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. Thank you also to our good friends at the undercard. You see the fine ring girls, lovely young ladies, well known in the Michigan area.
Yeah, the undercard, big show. They have a podcast that
Here we go.
goes off weekly.
Noise. This is the 10th and final round. This
Final
matchup.
3 minutes of this contest. Cruiserweight division, ladies and gentlemen, Demetrius Banks, Alexey Zubov. Let's wrap it up. 9-0, 14-1. Will Banks acquire his first defeat here tonight? Has not looked very impressive. Has 3 minutes to make a claim.
He's gonna have to let his hands go. He's looking for it. You can't say he's not looking for it.
Come on. Make it ugly.
As you hear the chants at ringside,
Make it ugly. Let's
they
go.
want it to be ugly.
Well, they're urging him on. He's gonna have to let his hands go. He's got to turn it into a street fight.
Yeah. Zubov not exactly the enemy anymore. It's this dwindling
Punch in the box. Fight him.
time count.
Go forward and fight him.
Well, you know, in all fairness
Fight him.
to Banks, he did settle down in that last round, and I did give it to him.
There's Zubov trying to finish the deal here, trying to do it impressive.
But he's been impressive the whole night.
Certainly has. Look at that left there. Second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's the combinations that the Zubov corner was exuding their fighter to do. Banks puts together a combination. But Zubov right back to the task. Big right hand by Banks, answered by a left jab.
And there he is. And there's Zubov steady.
Yeah, and if you notice,
Finishing.
he's starting to, Zubov sitting down on his punches. He's throwing punches with bad intentions. When they're
Another
laying there
left
like
hook.
clubbing
Oh my,
shots.
another right too. Oh my. Rights and lefts about Banks. Took that stumble.
Well, that took his legs.
Zubov determined. Showing you. Banks giving you just about whatever he has in the tank.
Everything you got. Everything you got in the shot. Everything you got in the shot.
Oh my. Zubov can see the target. That fires a nice right there.
He sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Zubov punching off the break.
Try it again.
Banks just trying to escape
10
here.
seconds.
You've never been happier to hear about 10 seconds approaching. And there you have it. 10 rounds, ladies and gentlemen. Fine work. If you're Alexey Zubov there, Demetrius Banks, perhaps not exactly the performance he wanted to leave on this capacity crowd from Detroit, Michigan. 9-0 record, dare I say, is in
9-1.
jeopardy at this point, Steve Taylor.
9-1, and I mean, you know, and
Steve Taylor, you're just going to save me the suspense, Steve. Just going to save it.
Yeah, yeah.
Forgive my diplomacy. I mean, we're trying to do that. United States, we need some diplomatic improvement. So we want to try to do it collectively in any way possible. Thank you for being with us, ladies and gentlemen.
99-91.
And there you have Steve Taylor. As we sit next to the judges, our man Pete Trevino. And you see he's serious just with that gold jacket though, Steve. I mean,
man, he's got it going on.
Who is anybody more fly in this facility than that man?
No.
Exactly. Waiting for the judges' cards, which seems like almost like an oxymoron at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. You hear the disappointment in the Banks camp, and
yeah, they certainly wanted to put on a different show.
For both of the fighters in this ring.
We'll turn it over to Pete Trevino once again.
After 10 rounds of professional boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. All three judges scored this contest 99-91 for your winner by unanimous decision, Alexey Zubov.
And certainly no surprise there as Alexey Zubov moves to 15-1 tonight. Does it impressively, dominates from start to finish Steve Taylor, and Demetrius Banks certainly not the performance he expected to put on in front of his hometown brethren.
not at all. But, you know, it was tough for him to try to keep Zubov off of him. Zubov very aggressive from the start, and he continued it all the way through, and he gets the victory as we scored it exactly like all the ringside judges.
And you continue with the accuracy, sir, as we prepare for our next bout, which is the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is what we all came
The
to see.
two-time Olympic champion that everyone came to see. The pride of Flint, Michigan. Ready to turn out the building. I'm sure the electricity will spark back up here momentarily. Clarissa Shields, ladies and gentlemen, if you were not aware of who the only fighter in history, male or female, to come away with 2 consecutive gold medals, 2012 and 2016, Steve, respectively. Set to take on
Again,
Sidney LeBlanc tonight out of Louisiana.
Don't let the 2-0 professional record fool you. A lot of experience for this young lady.
The amateur campaign was certainly one that was of legendary proportions.
I went out there, I gave it everything I had. You know, sometimes we have situations where we're not ready. But a warrior go to war against our lives. You know,
What?
I gave it all I had. I ain't give up. I feel like any y'all come out here and try. Hey, I could have walked away from him and not took it. I took the fight. I can take every fight. I'll fight him again. You know, the fight happened at the wrong time for any guy. Hats off to Alexey. He was a better man tonight. I mean, he wasn't going to get me out of here, but you can see from the first round, I ain't had no legs for whatever reason. But I come and represent my city hard and strong, and I'm still repping regardless of what you think. It's always going to be relentless determination. We back to the drawing board, baby. Get the learning experience. Let's go.
Well, if you can create a silver lining out of nothing, he certainly did that. A politician maybe is his bag.
Well, brother, I can tell you this.
What can you tell him, Steve?
He said he don't know where his legs went. Well, I do.
Yeah, they went to Russia. That's where they went. Is it more? Now this is the first time. Tell you about monumental first.
Yeah.
How often does the loser get the mic at the end of the fight? I'm gonna have to talk to Brother Trevino. I guess that's that Detroit home cooking for you. What up, though?
Ain't that right, Detroit? Ain't that how we do?
I guess it is.
From Detroit, we'll support you because we're from Detroit, baby.
Okay.
That's how you do it. Win, lose, or draw. Doesn't matter.
Not
if
mad
you're
at that.
home or you're away.
Not
If
mad
you're
at
from
that.
Detroit, we'll support you, baby.
True indeed. That was clear. So, with that, we get ready for the main event.